What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? I do have a special something for y'all tonight. So, we're going to get everything started and I'll be right back with y'all. Until then, let's get that beautiful bean footage rolling. If I can find it, and I just passed it, I guess I can't find it. What's up, everybody? I know we're doing something a little bit different tonight. I am doing something to celebrate not only entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs in our community. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. Boom! So y'all know tonight is I'm celebrating Black entrepreneurs. This is my special edition of everything. Okay, let me slow down. It's just us, the family, up in here tonight. So Save on Experience. She will be in a little bit later on. She's not in right now, but then I also do have another special guest that's coming in tonight. So just one more time for the special edition of the Divine Zone tonight. It's for Black entrepreneurs. One of my first guests that's going to be coming in with us tonight. He is an up and coming YouTuber. He is a part of the brand of the Four Mitches. So if you don't know who that is, this is his YouTube website, which is the Evolution of Veil. Excuse me. Let me slow my behind down. You can find him at Evolution of Veil on YouTube. And tonight definitely would not be possible without any of my sponsors. So once again, let me throw this there to give everybody a chance to get situated, and then we're going to get started. So tonight we do have in the house with us the Evolution of Veil. I'm going to bring him on, and then I have a special treat after that for y'all. How you doing, love? How you doing?
Hey. What's up, people?
I do appreciate you taking the time out to be with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Tonight, not a problem. Tonight is going to be something a little bit different. You know, normally we do our little laid back raunchy shows or whatever like that on our Thursday night. But tonight I figured, you know, with all of the Black Lives Matter situations and everything going on, that I'm going to get back to my community a little bit. Child, these ain't nothing but a prop. They work on my nerves now because all that glare was coming in my eyes. Let me take these on off.
These ain't a prop. I need these, but the glare.
And then he is the CEO and the co-owner of Silent X Radio, which will be launching this Wednesday coming up. I don't know the exact time frame, but I know he will be able to let you know exactly what time frame it is. Whenever you get ready, baby, give me a thumbs up that you're ready to come on. But I am Eugene. Will be joining us in just a moment as soon as he gets situated. I want to go ahead and Shayla, I sent you the link. I don't know if you wanted to step in because I'm trying to give a little bit of facet of everybody to come in. So we have a owner and co-CEO of a radio station that's Black owned and operated, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk about what exactly you do. How you doing, babe? You ready to go?
Not yet.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up. All right. Sorry, y'all. Not trying to catch anybody off guard. So I want to go ahead and get started with you then. Being that you are new to my channel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're gonna press forward from there?
I got so many layers. I'm like an onion. So do you mean like professionally, personally?
Now, you know, we're going to get into that personal stuff, but we're not going to do personal tonight. We're going to keep it very corporate.
Okay.
Corporate-ish tonight, because tonight is, I really want to celebrate and highlight, you know, the thing that makes you unique in your niche that you do. So,
All
give us
right.
a little bit of your backstory with your work experience and everything.
Okay. So professionally, I am a serial entrepreneur. I have owned, I don't know, I lost count, but I've owned a few businesses. Starting at the age of 19, started out with a contracting business where I did interior remodeling and space planning. Then I became a realtor. I owned a real estate appraising company, a daycare, and
What? A daycare too?
yes. And I fully returned to corporate America about 6 years ago. I started out as kind of a side thing. Those of us who are used to being an entrepreneur, that you got to have those multiple strings of income for those ebbs and flows. And also good to have somewhere where those benefits are stable, especially as you start to get older. So I kind of did that on a corporate level, and it kind of took off. And long story short, like 6 years later, I'm now in management running 2 separate departments, but still doing my entrepreneur thing. But I kind of put it in the part-time lane, and now I'm trying to reverse it because I've hit my limit with the corporate thing. So yeah, and so part of that plan has been the social media, the YouTube thing that I've been wanting to do for almost over a decade. And it started out with doing some things for work. I created a YouTube channel for work and got my feet wet and really enjoyed what I was doing. Wanted to get more creative, but there was constraints from a corporate situation. And then it kind of morphed into my friends wanting to join in, and that's where we created the 4 Mitches, which that channel started in December of last year. And in, I don't know, June of this year or so, May of this year, I started my own channel. I finally took that leap of faith. I got a video titled that, where I kind of talk about that journey of getting there emotionally, professionally, et cetera, and how I ended up where we are today.
Cool beans. I think that is that's where we're going to like tonight, because a little bit of my backstory too. I wasn't necessarily a serial entrepreneur, but I did get into it like that also. So I'm really excited to be working with you tonight. My co-hostess just showed up, and I Am Eugene just showed up. So I'm going to bring both of them into the stream. How you doing, babe? And how you doing, co-hostess? Yes, you better come in, cute corporate attire. I love that.
I'm giving you a little Indian.
Savon looks like she's about to head to her yacht for the holiday weekend.
Okay.
Very,
very rich.
They say it dress the part, even if you ain't, you dress it. So I'm gonna dress it.
We know you got some coins over there, Auntie. We know you got them coins, honey. I'm trying to give y'all a little ethnicity tonight with the hair, because my afro freezes up into Don King in the matter of a heartbeat, honey.
You and me both.
So for y'all that don't know, Vale is a serial entrepreneur, and right now is in corporate America. The Save-On Experience, I'm going to let her introduce exactly what she does, but to give y'all a little pre-warning, she does do not only a corporate job, but she also is in the beauty/hair industry. So I got a little bit of everything on there. And then we also have, with I Am Eugene, is CEO or co-owner, I'm gonna let him break it down to you, of Silent X Radio, which will be launching this Wednesday coming up. So y'all have the floor, and then we're gonna get into a couple of questions, whichever want to go first.
Okay, so as you know, the lovely Divine stated, I do work in corporate America, but my side hustle, of course, that's what I call it, a side hustle, I'm a salon owner. I've been in the salon hair care business for about 20 years. So I started when I was 10, and
yes,
I'm youthful, and I mean, I dibble and dabble in a couple other things as well, but my primary lane is going to be the hair business. Yeah.
Gotcha. Mr. I Am Eugene.
I am currently the co-chairman and CEO of Silent X Radio, which will be launching on Wednesday, an independent artist radio station. Outside of that, I am a global business consultant that deals with everything from a mom and pop shop idea that's in someone's head to literally micronationalism and setting up banking for a whole country. I started, my drive happened pretty much, I think I was 7, and I wanted a candy store, and my aunt, while we're talking about serial entrepreneurs, I think a lot of times as we're talking about society as a whole, a lot of people were trained into certain things in different social, ethnic backgrounds. And so my grandmother was a very good investor in real estate, and she had a real estate portfolio. So I had to, before I knew how to actually really count, I actually had to learn how to sign my name, because a lot of the houses were in my name and I had to sign rent receipts. So I had to go through that experience. But my first business actually was a candy store at 7.
Gotcha.
So you had.
I didn't know we were going that far. Mine was an icy cup stand out of my
Oh,
my front door. The kids would ring the doorbell, and I would sell them that frozen Kool-Aid in a cup.
Yes.
So a real true story about the candy store. My aunt, this was back in 80s or whatever. My aunt owned a health food store. She's retired. We had some of them in for like 30 years. But I really, really wanted this candy store. So my auntie let me go work for her and pull the weeds and do her yard. And she said minimum wage was like $3. So she paid me $5.25 an hour so I could make the $75 so we could go to Sam's Club and buy all the stuff. So my mom let me get the candy store, and she saw a roach in her house and flipped the holy every grail out and was like, no more. So I sold it to the girl down the street for $100. I sold my candy store to the girl down the street that really wanted the candy store, and my candy was free indefinitely, and she had to give me $25 a week until she paid me off. So this has been in my blood since I was 7.
I love that.
You better come head on with your bad self. So for everyone that's just now coming in and joining us, I do thank you for coming in and joining us, because you could have chose anywhere else to be tonight, but you did chose to be with us tonight. And tonight I am celebrating Black lives, not only Black lives, but Black lives in the rainbow community. And each one of us has not only a different story that we have touched on a little bit, but each person on this panel is an entrepreneur, which is in itself a big feat. And I don't want anyone to really take it lightly of what I'm doing tonight, because I want everybody to understand, like, it's very hard, not only for us, but just in a dominating world of mainly white society, they don't give Black entrepreneurs the same retrospect as they give, our counterparts. So I'm taking the time out to say I think that, I not only know all y'all on a comedic fun level in front of the camera, I do know all of y'all outside of that, and y'all are beautiful inside and out, and I do appreciate that. We're going to take a small little commercial break, and then when we come back, I did give everybody a little outline. I'm just going to pick a couple questions off of there, and I just want y'all to feel free, because y'all know how I do it too. We're just going to talk, discuss, and chat, and then we're going to maybe do a little one-on-one with the audience if anyone has any questions or whatever when we get to that part. But I just want to say I thank y'all for doing what y'all do, because a lot of the times that we sit up on the porch and we watch and we critique, but we don't understand what it takes as a whole. I'm just speaking as a whole, that what it takes, the sacrifices, the man hours, the blood, sweat, and tears to get your businesses to where they are. So I want to show that this is my way of giving back to my community. So without further ado, we're going to roll that beautiful beans footage, and we'll be right back, y'all. If I can find it, child. I'll be running off at the damn mouth and still don't get it all queued up, ready to go. Ain't this nothing? Where's you at? There you go. So again, for those of you who are not, who are just now coming in the house with us, my featured panelists tonight, we are celebrating Black entrepreneurship. It's going to be my special edition of the Divine Zone. You know, we do the whole freaky deaky stuff, but that'll be next week. That's not going to be this week. I wanted to kick this week off with something a little bit different, a little bit positive. So, for my group of panelists, you can find the evolution of Veil on YouTube at the evolution of Veil. The Savon Experience at Savon, that's SAVO111. And I am Eugene. It's not on YouTube, but he is on Instagram at I am Eugene. So you can also find him there. So I want to pose a question to the panel.
So one moment. So to find I am Eugene, you actually will look up Silent X Radio on YouTube.
Yes. There you go.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. I don't mind being corrected. That's why she co-hosts this. Where I drop it, she gets it. So the question that I wanted to come up with is one of the questions that I would like to ask y'all. Where did the idea for your business come up from?
Can I take this one first?
Mm-hmm.
My spouse is an independent recording artist. The idea came when he was working on his project. We were really trying to figure out with the industry being the way that it is in the arts industry, if you're not necessarily connected, you're not going to get the plays. If you don't get the plays, so we wanted to be able to control how we played, what we played, who we played, without having to really stick our face in places we didn't want to stick them. We wanted to do it our way. So that's where Silent X Radio came. Silent because he had been silent way too long. He had been in the industry. He had seen the hurt and the effect of the industry, and it made him become silent. And X is really because in mathematics, X is a mathematical equation of whatever you want it to be. So he wanted to take and give power to the silence, which is why Silent X came, and then the radio from there. Our other businesses are kind of, each one of them is kind of unique. Urban Hippie Edibles is pretty much one of those businesses where he loves to bake, and I just like getting out the house because you need some separation time when you got businesses together. So I get to go ship the stuff after he bake it, so I get my me time and he get his me time. But as a consultant, I really embody the business. So each business that I'm a consultant on, I really become that business at that moment. I embody it. I feel it. It's like literally, even though I do have all these other businesses, when someone hires me as a consultant, they get me pretty much in the CEO seat of their business until we're done with whatever it is that I'm doing for them. So for me, I embody the business, but the ideas just come. Like you just, like Auntie over there sitting, and you just sit there and it just comes sometimes.
Gotcha. Veil or Savon, if y'all want to jump on that question.
Savon.
So for me, I originally, I've always loved to do hair. My grandmother was a hairstylist, so I used to always watch her. Watch her thing, of course, were pressing curls, roller sets, and jerry curls. So, okay, she could do a mean jerry curl. So I would just sit there and watch her. And then it wasn't until I was in college, and of course, I was going to school for business, and I just couldn't get out of my head. Every time that someone came into the class, if someone was in front of me, I'm looking at their hair follicles. I'm looking at the style. I'm looking at the execution of the sew-in. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, they could have done this better, or they could have done that better. And I was just like, I've always done it. In high school, I did hair, but I completely told nobody. Like the people whose hair I did, like they had to sign, not a sign anything, but they couldn't tell anybody that I did their hair or I would stop doing their hair. I don't know why I was so in the closet about it. You know, my prom date, that I went to the prom with, actually did her hair. And so, you know, once we were out of school, people knew that I had a touch because hell, I was in high school with a bob, okay? But they didn't know I was doing the bob. Okay, so I was going to get the bob done. But so it was just always in my blood. I decided to stop fighting it, you know. I went into a salon when I finished hair school. I discovered that I don't play well with others in the hair sandbox like I do in the outside of the hair sandbox. And I wanted, after a year of being in a salon working with other people, I decided to just take it private, work for myself. And the biggest reason why I did that is because for me, hair is not only a passion, it's what centers me and give me joy. And I didn't work. I didn't want to work for anyone or be in a corporate space in that area to where it would restrict my passion and my artistry.
That
Gotcha.
part.
Yeah.
You just spoke a word with that part. Because that creative part, man, if we feel like somebody's trying to stump that,
yes,
it's done.
It's over. Yeah. And I also didn't want to do all the there were a couple salons that wanted me, multicultural salons that wanted me right out of school, you know, because the school that I went to was very accredited. It was linked up with a lot of the top-notch salons. It was a I don't know if anybody know about pivot point cutting back in there, but it was a pivot point school, technique school. And so there were a lot of the salons that wanted you to come in and be their apprentice, you know, pretty much the go-getter, you know what I'm saying? But you had to interview, give them your portfolio. And with me doing all of that apprenticeship with my grandmother, I had to grow. And I was like, I'm not doing that shit with you. I'm going to do it on my own.
Right. Veil?
Again, the serial entrepreneur thing keeps tricking me up because I'm like, okay, which business do I talk about? But I'll do like a quick summary of how I got to the one that I'm more focused on now. But as far as the contractual, being a contractor, that actually was inspired from my grandfather. From the age of 5 years old, he was like jack of all trades. He could do plumbing, electrical, you name it, he could do it. Roofing. And so he would come and he would work on my grandmother's building. And anytime I saw them pulling up in the driveway with lumber on the roof or whatever on the hood of the car, and I would be out playing with the other kids, I would leave the kids to go follow up behind my grandparents and stand there for hours, like holding nails and screws, because he wouldn't let me get on the ladder. He wouldn't let me hammer nothing. You know, black, like the old school black people. They wasn't into like these new age parents were like, baby, go ahead and try to, I couldn't touch nothing but the little stuff he gave me, which is basically nails and screws. But from that, I learned, I watched him like a hawk. I've always kind of been creative and good with my hands. And so at the age of 19, I ventured out and my mom encouraged me, which is huge for parents to encourage. And we can kind of talk about that, the encouraging part of people with that entrepreneur spirit. But my mom actually gave me thousands of dollars to remodel her unfinished basement. And I had never in my life hung a piece of drywall, done any electrical or anything. And she trusted me to do it. I did it. It came out really nice. So much so that I gained a client from it. Her accountant wanted to hire me to do his house. I did his house and then more clients. And it led me into being a contractor for well over close to 20 years. And so then after that was
for me then.
You age well, baby. You age well.
Yvonne and I are actually the same age. I'm actually older than her by some months.
Uh-oh.
Don't be giving her auntie age.
On,
auntie is having her annual 21st birthday.
Those active, look, overactive sebaceous glands kind of keeping us youthful.
There you go.
Yes.
And then the childcare piece of my background actually came from my mom. My mom was laid off well over 20 years ago from a factory job she had making minimum wage. She had been there like 8 or 9 years. She never had any aspirations of being an entrepreneur, but she became unemployed because the factory moved out of the state. And she started watching a couple children from her church. It basically then sparked into someone telling her, hey, do you know you can actually run a daycare business from your home and get licensed and this and that. 27 years later, my mom has been in that business, and I actually helped her start the business. I came up with the name. I learned how to do the articles of incorporation, how to get a FIN number. So I learned all of that and taught myself, and my mom just always trusted me to kind of take the lead on those sort of things. And I thought joining that business fully once I went away to college because of like the stereotypes of any man being interested in working with children, especially back in the 90s. I would go to classes and it would be, all of them were full of women. And the looks that I got from just coming in the goddamn classroom would amaze you. I mean, it was not low key, it was straight up discrimination. Straight up discrimination. And being younger, you know, I already had the issues with the sexuality and hoping people didn't think I was gay. I was, you know, DL back then, so I thought. So all that played into it. And so long story short, changed my major, went into business instead, and kind of left the business to the side, and I would just help my mom out here or there. Many years later, when my appraisal business went down because of the 2006, 2008, when the market crashed, the bubble, my business lost more than like 80% of my income. And I started helping my mom out just because I'm a worker. And I was like, yeah, I may not have any work coming into my business, but I'd be damned if I sit in this house all day doing nothing. So I would commute to her home 40 minutes and just help out with the children, curriculum, stuff that need to be fixed, all of that. And I was sitting there one day and these two twins that we had, two twin boys, came and sat on my lap while I was talking to my mom. And it was something that came over me like, this is where you belong, quit fighting it. And so I told my mom, like moments later, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. And I ended up growing that business. It actually got me into the job that I'm in now because I grew our business to a level that I started to get recognized in our industry. And then someone pulled me into the corporation I'm in now. So that's part of it. And then the YouTube thing was something I wanted to do, but I just wasn't strong enough to do at the time.
It sounds like we have the same parent. Are you sure your mama ain't my mama too? Because
where your mama at right now? She running the streets because that's what mine is.
Well, no, she ain't running the streets. She at home with the grandbaby. But I got my entrepreneurial spirit from her because she's always had her own business. She did the whole work for someone. She did that for a while. My mom is the person. She's very meticulous about things, and we used to call her Sarge, as me and my sister did, because cleaning the house, it was a whole thing, down to the baseboards every week, to taking the actual dishware out of the curio cabinets and washing those weekly. And then, she was very militant. To this day, you could eat off of her garage floor. She mops it. No lie. No lie. So she's
OCD.
She's always had her cleaning service, primarily commercial businesses. She started in resident, and then she went to commercial businesses, primarily doctors' offices, dentist offices. She had a few hospitals, dealerships. She was not playing.
That's where it's at.
Right, and then she moved to doing post-construction cleanup.
Love those.
And so then she got back into the residential because after houses were being built, she would clean, but you couldn't live in them. You can't live in them. She stopped doing it. It was some things that she saw, but she taught me that, all about being a self-employed individual. And she also trusts me impeccably. I learned everything from her, from managing a business from her. And then moving into pretty much everything with her business I handle. And now I can ask her questions. She's like, so baby, I don't know. Didn't you do it? And I'm like, girl, you got to quit trusting me so much. You got to know it. You know what I'm saying?
I think
I definitely feel where you're coming from because like for me, mine's kind of sort of fell into my lap. For some of those that don't know, I do have a medical background. And when I got out of, CNA school and all this kind of stuff, I was sitting up there, I was like, well, what am I going to do with, I done got this license, I done got, all this crap or whatever. What am I going to do with it? So at the time, my godmother had her own business. She was working with the Disabled and Handicapped Association, Northwest Florida. So she took me under her wing, and I was just gonna go in. I was like, I'm just gonna do what I got to do and just use this little old license and be done with it. Well, she started schooling me on how to do the books. So when I got in and I was doing the books and stuff, and she just groomed me into from doing that. She was like, well, you start doing the intakes and you start going to the client's house and talking to them. So I became her face of her business. And I'm like,
wow.
okay, so this is your business, but you sitting back and you chilling, and I'm taking it, I'm taking the heat for stuff, which I didn't mind it or whatever like that, because she had got to a point that, some people, they feel like not only they get overwhelmed, but they just feel like they're tired of it and they don't want to really do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So she got to that point. She wasn't motivated, is what I should say. She was not motivated to continue on doing it. So, she pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. So I went into business actually for myself. I became a healthcare provider, being self-taught, working with Medicare and Medicaid. I am licensed through the state of Florida. I can take in not only foster kids, but, I can do a little bit of it all or whatever. And it was not something that I set out to do. And my mom, on the other hand, my mom has a similar story to Savon's. Like right now, my mom only has 2 businesses that she's working for. She's working for Airbnb that she comes in, do deep cleaning and everything like that. And then she has a doctor's office that she still keeps up. Everything else, she was like, child, I got time for. So when you're a business owner, you can take and do that. You work on your schedule when you get ready to do it. So I do understand that. My next little piece that I was gonna ask y'all is that, being that a lot of people feel like that you have to go to college, what advice would you give a person that's in college that's thinking about being an entrepreneur?
Find your passion. A lot of times families are very big on education. My family was very, very, very big on education. In fact, I wanted to be a doctor, but I saw blood and honey. If you know anything about me, if you throw up on me, I'm throwing up on you. If I see blood, I'm passing out. I don't do fluids or liquids or none of that. But I did have a real passion for business, so much so where outside of my aunts and uncles who already had businesses, the ones that behind that came, everybody who had a business would come to me and ask me for advice. What should they do? What their direction? And that's where the consultant part of me came from, because it was like that. I just love business that much. If most of you guys know me outside of this, and most of the times I will give you an input or I will give you a feedback from a business perspective, just because I love y'all and I want you to succeed. And the other people, they pay for those services, but y'all my family, so I want you to succeed. And if I see the smallest thing, so if they're in college and they're trying to start a business, a lot of times it's trial and error, because I will tell you this, I failed more times than I succeeded. I failed more times than I succeeded, but when I did succeed, it beat every one of those failures.
We all can talk about that. So yes, we can.
And the saying is failing forward. So each time you fail,
yes,
you're failing forward. So now you've learned, and now the next time you start again, you're a little further than you were before, and you're gonna fail again, and then you're a little further. It's a part of the process. And now I would say that's one of the advice, like just piggybacking on what Eugene is saying, is you have to become comfortable with failure.
Yep.
It is a part of the process. You can look at any person, anyone you admire, any mentor, etc. All of them have failures, whether they've been broadcast or not. But even famous people, you got Oprah, you got Steve Harvey. Like, Google those people, do some YouTube searches of videos about their biography and how they got where they are. Every one of them have had huge failures.
Yep. Listen, I've seen bankruptcy.
What? Come on.
Okay. And while approaching it, I thought I was just gonna die. But let me tell you what bankruptcy taught me. It ain't that fucking serious. And it taught me to take my time and to not only continue to be innovative and creative, but to also think it through. And the biggest lesson for me was to not allow the business to pay for itself.
Yes.
Some people go in putting all this money in, making it great, and then not really focus on the return on investment, that ROI. Okay. Right. And so then you're looking at it and you're just bleeding money, and you've done nothing really to put into the business to make money. It looks successful.
Right. Right.
But it isn't.
That happened to me.
It happened to me.
That happened to me. Like literally when one of the businesses that failed, that really kind of pushed me more so into the consulting, I had taken every dime I had and put into a mortgage company because I worked for a mortgage company for a little brief moment, but I wanted my own because I'm calculating, I'm getting this percentage of this, but you're getting this percentage of that. And the mathematics wasn't working. So I asked for my own. So I moved from Chicago to Atlanta. I moved my mortgage company into Lenox, the office complex behind Lenox Mall. The rent is $3,000 a month. I'm making great money, and then the market crashes.
Yeah.
So everything I had, like every single dime I had, came to a halt. And then we not even gonna talk about the stupid stuff some of us in our community do for love, because that's a whole nother show. But in business, let business be business and separate your business from your personal life. Because if you do not, and you're not in a marriage, and I've tried to buy love when I had money. That was what I did. That was one of the reasons I failed. So everything I had I gave away.
Yeah.
And that's
go ahead, baby.
I was just gonna say since we're sharing our failure stories, our big failure stories, mine is, I think, a cautionary tale about taking calculated growth risk. So my business was the childcare program, because it had a long history, was doing extremely well when I put my full-time efforts into it. So much so that I was like, okay, it's time to expand. We are bursting at the seams. We cannot hold this within a residential space anymore. And so I expanded. I got us a property, 8,000 square foot facility. Although the place next door I could have gotten was, I think it was 2,500 square feet or so. But because I'm balling, I'm like, no, I'm going to get this huge space and I'm going to do it. So the rent was somewhere around $2,000 a month, which was real easy. The other was $5,000 a month. But I got it. I got $5,000. Then I'm still playing around and traveling and everything else. So I get that place, and I got it without getting all the financing in order, as far as like, well, how am I going to build out this space? Because it's 8,000 square feet. So that's a hell of a lot of money. So I'm like, well, I'm making so much money. Used to be a contractor. So I know how to do this work. I know how to hire subs and all that. I'm like, I'm going to just cash flow this. I'm going to pay this out of my pocket. And at the end, I'm not going to have no debt. Well, we got a new governor. And that governor shut this issue down when it came to childcare. So our payments were coming through the state for the childcare subsidy for our families on that program. Our income dropped by 60% within a matter of a month and a half. And so now all of a sudden, the money for the rent was almost all that we were bringing in at that point. Long story short, I did everything I could to hold on to that space out of pride. Out of pride. I moved into the space.
Yes.
I was living in a fucking warehouse for a year. I sold my house because it was pride at that point.
Yeah.
I opened credit cards. I got loans, all to pay a fucking rent. They wasn't building out to get us ready to open and get children. It was just so I could hold on to it to hope a change was going to come.
Yes.
Long story short, God was like, that ain't what I told you to do. And so it didn't happen. I ended up in that final month, I was like, I could either pay this pay this rent, or I can use that money and get a fucking storage space and get my ass into a real house. And so I ended up doing that. And that, about $90,000 later? Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Can I
know.
Yes. Can I piggyback off that, Jasmine? Because I want to tie that into what you asked us about the college students in there.
Yeah, we didn't ask that.
Yeah, in the failure of of not being afraid to fail, when you find your passion, be inventive inside the passion that you find.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
With y'all are saying with you all are saying this, let me get untongue tied. My next question that I would ask you is how with being an entrepreneur, how has it affected your family life? Because with Vail, you was just saying that you lost your houses and stuff because of that.
I sold. I didn't lose. Putting that out. I did not lose any houses.
I rebuke you, Satan.
It's different for me now than it was because I'm married to my partner, and we went into this with me already being a consultant, him already being an artist. So us going into our relationship, it was a sit down conversation about what I had, what he had, what we wanted to grow and build together, how we were going to come together, what percentages of what, if case, this happened, what this was. So that conversation was very different than the conversations I had prior to losing everything. I had to lose everything to be able to have that conversation. I literally, and I've said that on your show when we did the interview, I had lost everything to the point where when he was my friend, I was sleeping on his floor. People that I had paid rent for, people that I had paid tithes to, people that I had took on trips, people that I had bought cars for, literally wouldn't even let me take a shower at their house because guess what? I was empty-handed. I had nothing to give. So I had to learn the hard way I got to take care of me first. But then being an only child is very difficult when you're an only child and your mother is a senior citizen and you're the youngest of the grandchildren. So my life is very uniquely different. But
our lives, Eugene, because you just called out my story. Only child, my mom is a senior. I'm now living part-time at her home and trying to still live at my home on the other side of town, 40 minutes away.
Wow.
So, and then I have brothers and sisters who everybody comes to me for the advice for business. So for me, business is like in my blood. I live it, breathe it. But in my family, it's just weird because it's like with what I do and who I am, sometimes you feel like, and just being honest, sometimes you feel like it's manipulative because you'll go over here and you'll pay this person for 20 minutes of their time, but then you'll call me and be on my phone and blow up my phone every day and want my advice for free.
For free.
The stuff that I tell you to do, I tell you out of the kindness of my heart because I love you and you're my family member. But you don't tithe into me. You don't sow into me. You don't text me on my birthday. You barely call. And I'm just saying across the board, there are family members who do. Yeah. There are family members who remember. Yeah. But I'm talking about the ones who constantly come in those lanes that we're in and expect because you're family, honey, that don't pay my bills. That don't buy my husband 50 carats. That don't buy the things that we need to do. That don't buy my toilet paper. It don't pay my phone bill.
Don't that get you though that they could go to someone else? And I know especially being a hairstylist,
I was about to get into it.
The first thing they want to do is be, can I get the family hookup, or either,
Ain't
with us watching kids or working with kids, oh, I need the family hookup on the discount on the price of the.
Ain't no family hookup. The only family hookup that I have is my mama and my sister, and of course my niece now. But the original question was, how do you balance family? Well, the good thing about it is that me and my sister were grown. My mom was self-employed. Hell, I was still running my salon, working corporate, and cleaning office buildings for her for several years. Me and my best friend, we would go clean. Yes. And I mean, so that's just what we did. So we saw each other in the business space. And then once, I stopped doing that, because my sister got up in age and she started taking all, I passed the gauntlet over to her once she finished college and all that. It's your time to pay back because, you got to put in, you reap the benefits. Now you got to pay the piper. So then I focused on the salon and just corporate America. And I wasn't in a relationship. I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a niece. I didn't have, nephews. I didn't have any of that. So we were always working, but we stayed relatively close to each other. So we always talked. So for me, it was never a sacrifice. It wasn't until, I'm going to say 9 years ago when my niece was born, two things happened. My niece was born and then I met Bay. So then I went from working 6 days a week because I was at the office Monday through Friday and at the shop Tuesday through Saturday. So only day I had off was Sunday. So I went from that to seeing that I was missing precious moments, for my niece growing up, and kids grow fast. And me just wanting to always be there. The only grandchild in the family, spoiled, okay? And then having a boo who actually said to me at one point, we met when I was on vacation. So when I started going back to work, it was like, are you even gonna have time for a relationship? And I was like,
we'll figure it out.
it wasn't a figure out. It was like, okay, so if this is what I want, I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. So then I started looking at working smarter. Because I cut my hours from the salon, but my pay didn't suffer. I was in there working, but I really wasn't working smart because I loved it so much.
Could you go into working smarter a little bit more, Savon? Because like a lot of people don't understand. I didn't understand that one.
Before you go into that, I want to add in, okay, he just dropped out. I was just going to add him in. I had a YouTuber that was going to come in and talk with us tonight, but he just dropped out. But go ahead, Savon.
I was going to say also, I don't want to forget to be able to share my part of the family relationship part, because I'm probably the out of the three of us panelists.
I'm breaking up.
Oh, it's not you.
It's not me.
Is it me?
No, it's Evolution.
Hey, Mr. YouTuber. Thank you for joining in tonight. Savon just had a thought she was going to come in.
Wait, so he done went from Mr. 6'8" to YouTuber now?
Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
That's how we introduce him as hey, Mr. YouTuber.
Mr. 6'8", excuse me.
Hell, I almost want to call him Mr. Kit Kat.
Baby, that is his official new name, Mr. Kit Kat.
Oh,
and I do have someone in from the nails aspect of it, Miss Shayla.
I wanted to hear Miss Shayla.
Let me text him and make sure that he knows to come back in, to drop out and come back in, because I wanted to hear what he had to say too.
Yeah.
Hey y'all.
Hey,
hello.
Okay. I'm late getting here because I was on live, child.
You late getting here because you was eating them Kit Kats, child. Shayla, you look tired, baby. You all right?
Okay.
She's an entrepreneur. She worked today.
So for those of y'all that are just joining us tonight is a special edition of the Divine Zone. I am celebrating Black entrepreneurship, and not only in the community, but just Black entrepreneur in general. Last month was Pride Month. This month, this is my portion that I'm trying to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. Vale just popped back in, so I'm gonna let him. Vale, can you hear us?
Oh, he's
Your
on
mic
mute.
is muted.
Yep, there you go. Hey.
Hey.
We was waiting for you. I was stalling.
Is that right?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we ready for that good old response of balance. How you balance it out, boo?
I'm actually horrible at it, so that's why I wanted to add, because you guys have seemed to have figured it out. Actually, my last major relationship, well, You still have the person.
If you ask my boyfriend right now if I figured it out, he was like, no, because you worked. And then now your ass is on YouTube every night. And no matter how many times I tell my friends to stop having shows with me on them during these times, they still have them. So now I'm going to have to tell them no so I can keep a man.
I think
That
with
part.
us, yeah, with us, it's a matter of us realizing that business is business and personal is personal. So like I have 4 different phones. One phone goes off literally at 5 o'clock. One phone for family goes off at 12, and then I have my emergency number. And so he's very adamant on this is my time. Like he's very adamant on you worked all day. No, this is our time. Like when it's business, it's business. Yeah, I have to have Shayla. I have the consultant phone, the radio phone. My husband got a personal direct number, and then I done had the other number forever, and I just refused to give it up. So yeah, we have 4 plus the house phone because we're a radio station. So you got to call in. You can call into the station directly. So that don't even include that one. But yeah. So with that being said, I think it's about the partner that you have, because some partners are very vocal about their needs, what they need, what's acceptable, what they're not acceptable. The one thing I love about Auntie's partner is while she's there, if he could hear like I need a libation, but she's pulling the show or something like that, all of a sudden a magical cocktail will appear on the screen out of nowhere. But it takes that type of partnership to understand your partner. So it's really about communication and understanding and balancing a relationship as far as husband or partner in that perspective. I said what I said about other family members, and I meant that.
Yeah. So what are your challenges, Evolution? What are you finding to be the challenge?
What I think part of it is finance. You kind of touched on a little bit, Eugene. Finding a person who is equally yoked in a way, but also gets you and gets it. If you have a partner to a traditional 9-to-5 situation and they really need stability in that way, they need routine in that way, they might not be a great fit for a very driven entrepreneur, because there is nothing standard about our lives. Even if we find a level of routine, it's usually for a season. Then it totally gets flipped on his head at some other point. And you have to have a person who's able to ride with that. So that's either they share that vision or a similar vision, or they're just as driven in their way that they get it. Or, it's going to be very challenging. And so my last major relationship, that really was the deal breaker for our relationship. They felt neglected. And I was all in, but they felt neglected.
So you gotta have
my drive.
You gotta have a strong hustle muscle.
Who that?
You gotta have a strong hustle muscle.
Hey, how
we missed you.
We missed
Did you? Oh.
And we glad to see you home.
Yes, I'm gonna be home for a little while now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing though, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
When the wheels ain't rolling, ain't no money being made, but that's okay. I can stand that for a little bit.
Okay, just for a little bit. All right then.
Yeah, just for a little bit.
We got
all right. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.
Okay, baby.
All right.
So Bay, is the type of person that likes that structured 9-to-5. When I'm done, I'm done. He's got his hobbies that are strategic, and I think that's what helped us because he has hobbies. So whereas I may be working, a lot of his hobbies that were already existing and actively in place before me, he was able to partake in. Yeah. So, but had he not had those, it would have been a complication because I gotta make my money, honey. We don't eat if no funds is rolling through. And I like I told you guys, I've been in that bankruptcy court and I'm not going back.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that there's some sort of pattern or formula to become a successful entrepreneur?
Passion, drive, yes.
That's it.
Passion, drive, determination.
And being able to take the biggest thing to be successful as an entrepreneur is being able to accept feedback, whether it's negative and or positive, and know how to separate the person and the personal from it to hear it from a customer perspective. I think for me, working in the corporate space where they are constantly taking surveys and they're constantly critiquing themselves and they're constantly asking for their customers' feedback on things so that they know what they do well in and what they don't. And also looking at the numbers, based off of relationships and seeing what works. And sometimes what you think work, when you look at the numbers, don't work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that whole working smarter and not harder. I thought that if I made myself readily available all the time, 6 days a week, that was going to contribute to and feed into my success. It wasn't until I started to work smart and say, wait. I have these gaps in hours on these days. I need to book and fill those days. That way I'm only in the shop on A, B, C, and D, and I still make my budget versus allowing people to play all over my books and getting the money working 7 days, getting that same amount of money that I could make in 5 days. And also incorporating certain policies because time is money for us entrepreneurs, whether it's a contracting job, whether it's a consulting job, whether it's personal services in the field. That when I say personal services, that sounded so nasty, didn't it? Whether it's personal services, but even to that, time is money. If I spend 5 hours on your hair, do not expect that to be a $50 service. Time is money.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask. Not only you, but I was going to ask Savon. I know y'all touched on it a little bit before, with the trial and error of how y'all do. And I know that's maybe even with Eugene and with Vail. Whenever you set up consultation or whatever like that, do y'all require a booking fee? And if the booking fee,
hell yeah.
Hold on, let me finish the question, baby. With your booking fee, is that your retainer just at that present point in time? Is it refundable? Is it non-refundable? Is it a part of the service, or that's just your guarantee that they're going to show up?
Who would want to take that first?
I'll take it first. Oh, Shayla take it first because she knew. You take it because I don't want to get cussed out, right?
I don't know. I might want to see it. Don't take it.
Okay, so I don't really do consultations, but I do have a booking fee. The money is put towards your appointment, but the money is also set there just in case you decide not to show up. Then my time is not completely gone wasted with you not showing up. And I do heavily enforce that now. Like I didn't before, but I do now because people just do anything. Like people don't really consider your time. And people just inconsiderate for real. Like I didn't have people book me for an appointment and still go to a whole nother nail tech or go to the Asian people. And that's what I got tired of doing, especially when I wasn't taking deposits. It would be times that I would have 6 appointments booked and wouldn't nobody show. Then I'm just out of money completely.
Damn.
Wow.
For me, I used to do everything because I just loved it and that's what it was. So I would do the contracts, and after I would do the contracts, I'd be waiting for my commission because it's in the contract, and then I didn't work. But they've taken, like literally, I had my first $1 billion deal that ever I saw on paper, not me getting $1 billion, but commissioning $1 billion deal. I can't say the words. These human beings, and you can take it and color it how you want to, okay? These human beings, literally, one was a client, one was an insurance company, the other was a banker. So they had stuff called 144 Fiber Pop 144A bonds. The insurance company and them said, hey, you connected us, we'll pay you, we'll make sure we'll take care of you. We're all good friends. Do you know the companies literally went behind my back, married, and literally never paid me a dime? So for me, my time, because I'm so creative and I'm creative in ways that most people aren't in business, I'll find a way to make it. You have to pay my retainer, because if you don't pay my retainer, you're not worth my time, because I charge $300 an hour as a consultant.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Like Shayla said, people will waste your time if they have to invest. Think of it this way: we're professionals, we're certified, licensed, degreed, whatever the case may be. You go to your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They have a deposit and a no-show fee.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm blessed enough to where my clients, they don't do a whole lot of counseling. First of all, my schedule is so tight. They know if they cancel, I'm going to see you at your next rotation. So if you come every week or every 2 weeks, I'm going to see you at your next appointment.
Ooh, 4 weeks away.
I can't come today. Okay. Do you have anything else? I don't. But if anything comes up and you're a regular, obviously I'm going to work you in. That's customer service. But for certain services over a certain amount, you can't even make that appointment unless you pay the deposit.
Period.
And deposit is a percentage of the service, right? But that allowed me to have people. I started having less cancellations, and I used to feel bad about that. And I was like, why the hell are you feeling bad? Because they don't feel bad when they cancel on you or don't show up because they decided they wanted to go do whatever. That's your business, that's your money. But for me, if you don't show up, you've taken that spot from somebody else who wants to come. And I may be able to say, hey, I have an opening, but that may not work for you because now that's last minute. And I got to respect that too. And if they don't show up, there's a cancellation, there's a non-cancellation fee, and it's got to be paid before you even come to your next appointment, or that appointment is canceled.
I feel like that's just smart business, because every one of y'all, not only have y'all went to school for, but that's just like you were saying, doctor's office, they give you, if you get that cancellation fee, you can't go see them until you pay that. So, and then too many times you take and do it, your insurance is going to drop you from it because they feel like that you just playing around with it. So I completely understand you. Val, you got anything to add to with that? I know you do. With the construction side of things, among your other businesses, how do you handle that with like consulting or whatever?
I actually don't do any consulting, and I was a contractor that was like doing estimates, and so it's kind of hard to get business if you're charging people for estimates when traditionally they're free. I definitely say Vaughn in the sense of that's back to what my barber does, and that's kind of standard operating procedures at this point in many. Definitely smart to handle your business, because no matter what industry you're in, people really don't respect other people's time. So you have to teach them how to respect your, or charge them.
And I think with the climate today, being that everything is virtual, a lot of people aren't in shops, or they're not in salons, or they're not where they used to be. Now, I think it's even more important to honor our time and do that way, because if they do decide to do something else, first of all, tomorrow not promised. I'm just being, it sucks, but
yeah.
I almost went out. Anyway, but my thing is with COVID-19, like we see the numbers increasing and then we're booked. And then we do have that time. And then, like Auntie said, some cases when we hear some of the things, we're sad, but it's like, we're sad, but damn, I could have booked somebody else had I known.
Yeah. And as long as they cancel within 24 hours, there's no cancellation fee. I mean, and I stopped doing the cancellation fees during COVID-19 because if you're not feeling well, girl, I don't want you stressing over that money, honey. Please stay home, because you're gonna cost me more in the end if you come in here and I get sick or somebody else gets sick. It's gonna cost me more money then,
Yes, I'm reading my husband's comments. Auntie, did you hear what he said about the church?
Where was the lie though? Nobody met budget, but there's all of a sudden a miraculous new a navigator showed up for the pastor.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, but that's my answer to that. Jack. That's our answer to that.
So,
Like, I think it's imperative.
Let's see. So I'm gonna ask y'all a fun one, and then does everybody feel like doing a little bit of question and answering from the audience, or has it been too much for y'all already?
I'm good. I'm good. I went and got my libation like Auntie told me to.
Yes, honey. I done took a bath. I done put on some spackle on this barn and threw a hat on. Girl, you got me for a minute now.
Okay. So how did you come up with the concept of the name of your business?
Who you asking first?
Anybody that want to answer?
Shayla.
Well, yes, because Shayla is very endearing as well. Her story.
Well, mine's is Honeydew Nail. Mine started as a nickname from my auntie that passed away a couple about 11 years ago. Honeydew actually comes from honeydew this and honeydew that, because when you the baby of the family, you get tossed around to everybody.
That's the honeydew. I get it. I just got it.
Well, some people was probably reading that was like, she must love honeydew melon.
Right.
That's what I thought. I swear to God, that's what I thought. Hey, you said it came from your auntie, so I always thought that it was you liked honeydew as a kid. But now I get it.
Funny thing is, I don't even like honeydew.
Wow.
Mr. What is your how did you come up with the name Mr. 6'8"?
So with myself, the thing was that I get stopped a lot in public just for the randomness of my height, and it's so funny because of the fact that especially with little kids, like I walk in the store and you'll see a parent with a child, and they'll just be carrying on, acting a fool. And I'll walk past them and I laugh because they'll stop dead in their tracks when they see me. And then I know what's coming next, which is, Mama, you didn't see that tall man? And I just bust out laughing because I'm just like, everywhere I go, people want to know about my height, which I don't personally find fascinating because, I've been tall all my life. Even in first grade, I was the tallest person in my first grade class. So it's just been something I've been accustomed to. So I was like, well, shoot, since everybody always is so fascinated with the height, why not just sit here and call my brand Mr. 6'8" and just call everything Mr. 6'8", since that way it would save people from asking me how tall are you. So
I ain't gonna lie, I thought you was one of the OnlyFans. I thought you had OnlyFans when I first seen it, so I went to OnlyFans like, okay, let me find it.
It sounds like an OnlyFans.
No shade. I really did that. I was like, okay. So I went to OnlyFans like, okay, well, let me look up Mr. 6'8". Let's see.
Not OnlyFans.
I did, Auntie. I'm telling the truth. I'm very transparent. I really thought he was one of the OnlyFans person.
OnlyFanners.
Mm-hmm. I guess I have to stop saying that.
So for my salon was actually named by my late best.
Come on, you better get you some camera time.
Every time I'm on this couch, please stop. No, not today. Mine was actually named by my late best friend from high school. We were best friends since 9th grade. He didn't finish his book, but I have his manuscript. He was writing a book, and in the book, everybody in his life were actual people with different names. And this was before I actually went into the salon space. I had been doing hair, different places, things of that nature. And in the book, my character had a salon, and the salon was called T. Leon's Unique Design. So when I opened up my salon, I named it T. Leon's Unique Design, and I didn't tell him. So it wasn't. I didn't have anybody come over there. None of that. So when he saw the business cards and the licenses and all that, he literally cried because he was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that you read my manuscript." And I was like, "Yeah." So he named it. It wasn't even me. It was him. And he's no longer here. So now I keep it.
That's so sweet. Mr. Vale.
So I actually came up with the evolution of Veil, I don't know, about 15 years ago. And it wasn't a plan to ever use it outside of my Facebook. It was the title of one of my albums. And it was the one with all of my pictures from birth all the way through current day. And when I was trying to think of my YouTube name, it just kind of came back to me like the evolution of Veil, because what it represents is how I've evolved. So that shy, awkward kid that I was, it still exists, but the mass evolved into who I am, being able to even come on a live and talk to people, the kind of work that I do in leadership, things of that nature. So I have evolved into what God has created me to be. And I'm still working towards it, but it's the evolution of Veil.
Wow.
So the panel, y'all do have a question from D Star. The question is, how important is it for you to have your paperwork in order? For example, trademarks, corporations, LLCs, business license.
It's extremely important. I will tell you there are some ways for people who don't have a lot of money to do it. And this is just a consultant tip. If you are the first one to use a name or a name that you want to trademark, make sure that you publicize it on a media platform such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or something like that. Because when it comes down to trademark and trademark rights, it's going to come down when you finally have the money to do it, to the first person who actually had that date of it was public. So if, for instance, the Official Honeydew, right? So if the Official Honeydew had a Instagram page in 2015, but she did not incorporate, and she, utilized that page and everything was on that page, but somebody came and tried to trademark that, and she tried to sue, and she said, hey, this has been my brand for this long. She actually could take that to the trademark person with proof that this is when it began and when the trademark, which is why trademark is so important. But for people who don't have money to actually pay $49, there's a lot of services out here. Go to your state. You can do it inside your own state. And it's cheaper than paying somebody else like me to come in and do it for you, because I'm charging you state fee plus my time. And that's the difference. But having that paperwork, especially when you're in a partnership, because we own percentages of each other's company. So your corporate bylaws are essentially important in a corporation versus a sole proprietorship if you have partners or you're in a partnership business. And you said paperwork, LLC. Your business plan, let's back up. Let's back all the way up a little bit. Your business plan probably is one of the most important pieces to this puzzle, because you need to know what you're doing, how much it costs, if it costs anything, and how you're going to execute it. You need a plan of action. Mm-hmm. But outside of the business plan, if you don't have money, that would be the quickest way to be able to own, when you do have the money, to be able to go into a trademark situation such as I Am J. Eugene, Silent X Radio, and all the businesses that we have. All of those are incorporated. So it makes it, very different. But then sole proprietorship is different because it's a different, it's not, you don't get the tax benefits that you get with a regular corporation. So, I mean, if that answers your question.
Well, that definitely was informative, because I always wondered about that. Like if somebody tries to use your brand afterwards. like after the
You
fact?
have to have the documentation. Now, this is essentially important. Don't go say J. Eugene said, as long as I got this. It goes by the person that first used what you're trying to use, and it has to be documented and dated. So if you can use a social media platform, if that is something that you're trying to do, and you can document it, because if you try to come up with cola has been trademarked forever. So they not gonna say, but if you come up with honeydew cola, it might be okay. Well, you got honeydew with the cola. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you date publicly in a public forum so that it can be noted and seen. And in a trademark application, they will ask you, when was the first date you used that name?
Brand or naming.
Yeah, that brand. Is it anybody else? Like they will literally go into those details of asking.
They research it.
Yeah, they'll research it down to find out literally the first day it was utilized, and that's why it's so important in a social media or email. Even if it's an email, so even if you don't like social media, create you a Google account with the business name @gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to take a mini little break, y'all, and we'll be right back. And then we're going to go into live question and answer with the panelists. If I can ever find it. Don't forget, pass the sugar. Then y'all know I got to make y'all laugh for just a second before we get into it. So here you go. All right, y'all, we're gonna get ready to do it. I'm gonna drop the link in there, and Pastor Sugar actually just came in. What's up, Pastor Sugar?
Hello, you all. Sorry I'm late.
Hey.
I'm busy working, but I'm here.
Hola.
Okay.
Going to, I'll give you the floor for a few minutes. You can talk for a few minutes. You can tell us about your branding, because you come from the, let's see, we have hair, we have nails, we have YouTube, we have radio, we have construction, basically construction, and healthcare.
Mhm.
And now we not only have consulting, but we also have tell them what you do, Pastor Sugar.
So Path of Sugar is actually, I'm pretty much my own boutique. I'm specifically a genderqueer boutique, which means I do cater mainly to the LGBT trans communities. But I do, my boutique is open for everyone. So the way I do things is how traditional boutiques and retails look at retail, like male and female. I don't do that. I do the way I do my styling and everything. I do it not based on gender. So all of my clients who I work with, all of the people who shop in my store, there is no male or female aspect. It's just there's clothes, there's services, and I cater to each individual.
Cool. So I do have the I did put didn't I put the link down there? I thought I did.
You did.
I do have the link down there for anyone that wants to actually come in and ask questions, or just type it out and one of us will take and read it, and we'll just go from there. I don't know about y'all, but I'm enjoying this. This is very informational, and I feel like that is very much needed for people that are looking into going into business for themselves. And I'm appreciative y'all have time to take and do this today. Don't forget, y'all, to like,
Can
share,
I
and subscribe. Anyone can add anything
No,
they
go
want
ahead,
to.
go ahead.
I'm shut up. Go ahead. I'm done.
One major thing, I think Eugene was kind of touching on it, but that he didn't cover that is hugely important is taxes and how to set up your taxes, paying your taxes, and
Shit.
Oh Lord, you done froze
None of
again,
the
baby.
panelists,
He come back. He back.
You froze a little bit, baby. Go ahead and try that again. Try your statement again. You froze again, baby.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Somewhat.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I was just saying if any of the panelists had any advice or stories about taxes, the IRS, that comes after all of our businesses.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Hey, now we have the music. We have the music fill announced with us tonight. Xavier Soul.
Yeah. The one good
Hey,
thing
boss.
for me-
How you doing, boss?
What's up, boss?
Alright,
Listen, niece, I got some chicken that I can pay. Don't you hate
Look,
when
I had
people
no
do shit like that?
we got started.
Xavier, she was
baby,
just asking us.
them people showing us told that lady, man, we didn't meet budget tonight. So we got plenty of chicken down there in the fellowship hall.
What we gonna need to do is to make sure my fee is paid before I even come in that instance, because your budget is yours, it ain't my problem.
I took those situations like that and applied them to know how to move forward in my music and in my artistry. Budget needs to already be met before I leave home.
And if your budget is not met, that's fine. My budget to show up is this, and I'm gonna need that. Look, in today's day, you can cash app that me right now.
Period.
And that thing, like they will want a full band and singers and they want a whole show. But a whole show, just say if your look, my booking fee is $1,500. Just throwing out a number. I need $500 up front for my deposit. Okay. That's only covering, most times that was only covering her travel of getting everybody there.
Yes.
Now she's banking on being able to get that other money to get us home and being able to take care of everybody.
Right.
And then still have something for herself.
Correct.
So when I see things like that, I was like, hold on. Oh no. Now before I get jaded with the church and say F gospel, let me see what can I learn. That's why I said earlier, my biggest advice to anybody in business that wants to do something for yourself is I hope you fail. I want you to fail because I want you to learn the lessons that you have to learn.
Yeah.
But learn something very valuable in someone else's failure that is great at doing what they do. They had to fail at some point in time in their life to get to where they are. They didn't just wake up and become a millionaire. No. I want to know where you failed. Where did you drop the ball? What could you have done different? I don't need to know what you did right. Because me pursuing what I need to do on the course that I need to go, I'm studying to show myself approved.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't even need to know that. I know where I want to go. God showed that to me. I just need to know where you failed.
So leading into that, taking that and then going back to Evolution's question about taxes, typically your first year is going to be the only year that I would suggest anyone pay once a year. Then you'll have, that first year you'll have a little bit of idea of what your quarters are going to look like so you can do, tax payment projections. Okay. Do not think that when you make this money that you can go ahead and spend that money. At the very minimum, you need to take 30% of whatever you make and put that into a tax account. At the very least. The very least. You don't want at the end of the year, you putting in this money and you have this big ass tax bill and then you have to add that as a payment because they'll allow you to set up payments, but they also going to charge you interest on those payments too. So the one good thing about me having several streams that taxes automatically come out of, then I can file mine a specific way to where I'm still accounting for the money that I'm making, but I'm also banking off of the taxes that I have automatically taken out to contribute to what I gotta pay from any type of self-employment or sole proprietorship income.
I will also say that there are apps now, specifically if you're buying a lot of the equipment or things for your business that will I can't think of the app that we use, but literally we put take a picture of the receipt and it automatically kind of scans the receipt and places it in whatever section of expense or whatever deduction it needs to go so that we can get the proper tax deductions. So there are apps out there if you're an entrepreneur that needs help with that. And if you don't want to keep receipts, because my husband gets on me about having like 1,000,001 receipts, just take a picture of it, put it on your phone, and the apps will literally what do you call it when
it'll take it and automatically categorize it and scan it right.
Compute.
Yeah. And if you're not that savvy, honey, you can still be old school, but make sure you create a folder that says business receipts. And when you scan them in, okay, you put down what they were for. At least you had that, right? But D-Star said QuickBooks. I don't tend to use QuickBooks anymore, but I'm a good spreadsheet girl. I love my spreadsheets and my automation and my macros, and I just do that on mine. Pass the sugar.
Go ahead, Pass.
So 2 things. One, when it comes to taxes, I love deductions, and you will find, because I have I'm through LLC. I have an LLC. So the one thing I like about this country is they actually give you way more tax deductions as a corporation or LLC or some type of formal entity. Everything that is for my business, I tax deduct, whether it's merch I'm testing, traveling, if I'm paying out of pocket. That's all tax deductible to me. So it's money I can deduct from my overall profits at the end of the year. I know they also do, if you have some losses and certain debts and stuff, that's also tax deductible. So what Eugene, and I'm glad Xavier is very adamant about, keep all of your receipts. If it's been, even if it's a meal, if it's a meal with a potential client, networking partner, you can even travel to different conferences. And all those travel fees are tax deductible because that's you taking care of your business. Second, what a lot of people were talking about is I actually do keep I keep track of all my expenses and everything through 2 methods. One is QuickBooks. I like QuickBooks, but I'm like Savannah. I have a good old spreadsheet too, because QuickBooks, yes, is great, but what if it goes down, something happens? That can lose all your stuff. So I got my own tracker, and I actually used to have a paper tracker. I used to have 3 methods, but the paper stuff just came too much. I can actually just print from my spreadsheet now.
Yeah.
So it's very key. Even if you're just starting up a business, every money, all the money you're putting in, which could be whatever it is. It also includes owner's investments, so the money you have to start up, that's all tax deductible at the end when it comes tax time.
Yep.
So let me ask y'all this question from an aspect of just like now that I'm getting into YouTube and I'm investing time and effort into that, buying a new computer system and, StreamYard, that's a monthly fee or a year fee or whatever like that. And then, different programs that they can put out the content and stuff that I'm using. Can you take and use that as tax write-off? I'm just curious.
You need to make sure you set up, though. You need to make sure you set up your business as such, though. Now, I wouldn't just say, Jasmine, and then you just put it on. I mean, you're going to have to set this up as a business. And it can be a social media business. It can be whatever you want to do in that space. You can. And keep up with everything. But whatever money you make off of it, too, you got to keep that same energy.
Yeah.
Or if not, you're going to constantly be looking like you have a loss every year. Your business is not going to look successful. And as you try to grow, I mean, they start looking like, okay, girl, you ain't ever making no money. Why are you still doing this?
Yeah.
And I think you also need to keep a separate bank account too. That's really, really important because IRS will look at that.
Do not incorporate with your personal.
Now I have business bank accounts, and it's another company called North One. Besides the regular banks for people who might not be able to qualify.
people who might not be able to qualify for traditional banking for whatever reason, there is a prepaid account through NetSpend that you honestly can get deposits. They'll give you the invoice and you can take payments through that way. Yeah.
Cash App has a routing and account number that can be your account as well. All that you have to do is just make sure you set it up as such. They'll send you a card as well, a Cash App card you can use. That will also track all of your expenses because of the fact that you're utilizing that card. Cash App makes it really easy for people today. And I
have them all. I have PayPal, the bank account, Cash App. You name it, I got it. You can pay me in multiple ways.
Yeah.
You said you get
multiple avenues.
I don't discriminate.
Okay, I have PayPal.
Shayla, you was going to say something?
I have all that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say about the tax write-offs. Like being a nail tech, it's easy to write off a lot of like common stuff, like my car. I have a business phone, so I use my cell phone to write that off. My mileage, because I do have to put gas in my car to go to work. Even my clothes, like I gotta have a uniform to work in.
Hello, somebody.
This is true. The easiest way to do that, though, the easiest way so that you don't get looked at sideways, is having these items also in the business name.
Yes.
Having it in the business name, you know. It's a little easier to do if you incorporate or something like that. Sole proprietorship you can do, but you got to have a lot of paperwork just to make sure that you know, because they look at us sideways. But as long as you have it in the name of the company, it's deductible.
Yeah, honestly, one thing that a sole proprietor could do, like when Shayla was just talking about the car, you can get those the stick-on banners, like to go on the side of the car that come off.
Yeah,
that makes it a business.
It does.
Business, so that it, you know, you can take it on and off as needed. Just as a FYI.
I still have my banners on my on my garage door as you come in. Telio's unique design, honey, because Telio's design showing up pay for that Benz, girl.
I got a personalized license plate, and it does says Honeydew, so it's business.
Yeah.
That is that.
Ooh, and that registration and stuff is all tax deductible.
Because I was trying, you know what? I was trying to figure out how to fit Mr. 658 on the back of my car, but I think I got too many letters, so I got to figure out which letters to
it's
take out.
Simple. MRSFTA. Gee.
Okay.
I'll be sending you an invoice after this is over.
Yep.
Coco, all of them. As long as you got in like the
same setup with banking. I take Venmo as well.
For those of us that don't know what Venmo is, what is Venmo?
Venmo is a PayPal company. So let me just say, this is gonna be an ignorant moment for me, because even though we're entrepreneurs, we're not smart about everything. Okay. I, for the longest time, didn't use Cash App because I don't like shit that charges me fees. And I didn't know why in the hell I was being charged fees until COVID-19 ass came and we went to true paperless payment. So my client was like, you see that building beside your name? I was like, yeah. She said they have you registered as a business. So you're going to pay a percentage each time. Just reach out to them and tell them not to do that. And you don't have to pay a percentage. So now my Cash App is free. But I was wondering why everybody else was getting their money and mine was always being percentage. I was taking 2.7 out. So if you get that little building taken off, you can then use it like that. But I also have it linked to my business account though, so I can still transfer into it without their fees.
Echo Man, this is the answer to that question. In the memo section, it depends on how that person, first of all, it depends on if your Cash App is business or personal. That's first. Right. If it's a personal, it depends on in that memo section, what's placed in that memo section, because they can put it as a donation or they could put it as a service or, you know, for nails, for hair or whatever. So that, if that answers your question.
And once you have so much money flowing through any of these accounts, baby, believe me, they're going to send you a statement.
Right.
And
every month.
So you can't get $10,000 worth of Cash Apps and Venmos and not have to explain that. You're going to have to explain it.
I think they have a limit.
So with y'all saying that, I do have a question. Like, I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this. So, like with Cash App, can you have two different accounts? Can you have a personal Cash App
Yeah.
account and a
You
Cash
can.
App
You
account?
just have to sign in and out of them when you're on your phone, but you can have them.
Yeah, I got a personal one.
Cash
and
apps
two
really
business
ain't
ones.
nothing but cash apps is really like bank accounts.
That's all.
So it's the same. It's the same
It is a
thing.
bank account.
The only thing
I
I would
was
say,
just
you have to be careful with Cash App because I
That
have
people be scamming.
exactly. So
What
Cash
do
App is like I use it for me in my business and how I do things. I use it for my good Judy's who are customers, but for first time customers, I usually have to go through PayPal or that Square card reader if I'm doing it that way, or through my actual store I can process payments. That's because I know be protected, like in case they go and do like a chargeback, like they got the service and they don't want to pay for it. PayPal, usually most platforms you run your store through or your business through, and your bank will protect you from that. Cash App is starting to get to that point because they're starting to realize, okay, we can be used for businesses, but you.
So people were taking payments back from Cash App.
Charge
Yeah.
They were doing. Yeah, girl.
They can make a complaint.
They was
It was
Somebody
a fraud
came to me. Somebody came to me and got a $85 set, and before I knew it, by the time she got to her car, she had canceled it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh,
That's why my husband. That's why my husband.
You gotta
does
take.
this.
You get the Cash App. You need to go on and start that transfer then, right?
He does
So
it
if it's processing,
immediately.
girl, I wish a
Cash App.
I told y'all I'm learning too, so y'all teaching
Well,
me something.
I would say with Cash App, I always say you can use Cash App, but I would say cut off at a certain amount. Like maybe only accept if the service or whatever you're doing is no more than like, just as an example, $30 fine. But for like a $200, $300 service, I would probably use PayPal or go through another
mine is
platform.
Venmo. My clients use Venmo.
That's a good one.
Only ones that use Cash App are the ones that's been coming for years. But other than that, no. Mine is Venmo or Zelle.
Yes. I will say this about Cash App. Well, not just Cash App, because of the COVID and the pandemic in general, and fraud being at an all-time high. If you all notice in your accounts is if there is anything that is not normal or out of the normal, be it a deposit or be it a purchase, they will immediately block it and they will ask you if it is you or not to protect you at this point.
They sure will. Yep.
Navy Federal definitely been doing that.
Look, girl, I'm not gonna be able to tell you about investing funds, look, because I'm not
going to tell you what a person who is a client of mine. I don't know if you guys saw the water that we promote a lot. He is a trucker and they're very good. So I asked him that question, and the answer to the question was, invest as much money as you can into oil. And it did not make sense to me until he broke it down like this. The world is at a halt. Planes and people are not moving like they normally do. Gas prices are very low. So when the world goes back to a norm, the price of oil and petroleum is going to go back. That's not me saying that as an investor. That's me giving you advice that was given to me by somebody who I be wanting to ask. Could you just tell them I'm worth it, because their name gets people like $1 million loans and stuff.
So can I ask y'all this then? Do you feel like a certain amount of your total income that you take and do you think you should take and invest that back into your own business versus going out to maybe another mom and pop shop to give them the business for you? Do you think that, that would be something that's logical?
I think there needs to be a fine line. You need to have a certain percentage that you are going to constantly be investing. You need to have a surplus of funds into your own business so that it can afloat itself. And this is once it's established. People got to understand, when you go into business, unless you have a phenomenal first year, which it does happen, that's great. But you still need to act like you don't have the money. A lot of people who in order to obtain long-term, what we call generational wealth, you have to act like you don't have it. Simple. Act like you don't have it.
Reinvest.
Set yourself a percentage, okay, and put the rest into a savings, and make sure that you have a savings for your business, you have a personal savings, and if you want to take a little bit to invest to also let your money work for you, do that. But please, by all means, if you have a daytime job, is what we'll say, and you got a side hustle and a side business, all the money from the side business, let that be something you put in the savings and live off of your daytime job, at least for the first 2 years. That'll help build a good nest egg for you if you're able to do so.
So let me ask you then this, Savon. Okay, so we're going to take and do it as 100% pie, which is very easy for most people to understand. Out of your 100% pie, break it down like, what percentage do you use for your, because let's just be real, most people have overhead as far as like with the products that they buy, the building that they're in, the light, the water, because most people are still doing that in a brick and mortar type situation. So how much do you take and allocate to each section in order for you to, but to start seeing a profit? Because we're the understanding now that, the first year or two, you're not going to really make a profit. But how do you start allocating after that to be like, okay, so this is what I need to be putting aside, or this is my, you know what I'm saying? Like when you buy your product,
each avenue, each business has its own pie,
Mm-hmm.
and it has its own budget, and depending on what I want to do with that particular business and how I want it to grow, the numbers change for me. So what I will say, a lot of people when they're budgeting, they don't allocate anything for themselves. They look at they look at the bills that they have. And after the bills are paid, whatever is left, they can spend. They're not looking at putting up a savings. They're not looking at putting up, putting yourself on what we call an allowance, right? Just because after you paid all your bills, you have $2,000 a month does not mean you need to take all that $2,000. And that's even after you have a savings. So let's say you put up a certain percentage for savings, you have a fund to play with, right? You've got your bills and expenses, and you still have $2,000 left. Some people will blow that $2,000.
I got a question about that, Auntie. So for us, because he just asked me this like 2 days ago. When I'm doing budgets, I budget all the way down to zero. But in that, I include our vacations. I include our from A to Z in that budget. Should you do a budget from like that to zero? In your opinion, could it be done to zero?
You can definitely do that as long as that zero has capital in it for expansion or reinvestment, whatever funds that you have, a savings, a rainy day fund, a play fund. I'm the same way though. I budget down to zero. Now in that zero, I'm gonna have, if I want to go, this is gonna be my new couch fund. This is gonna be my oops, I lost my job fund. This is gonna be I'm gonna slap my dog fund.
And the dog comes.
All of my mom, she instilled that in me at a young age. She's like, when you get paid, before you do anything, you pay yourself.
That's right.
Because it also feeds into mental health. If you don't take care of you and you're constantly working and working and working and working and working, what are you working toward?
Exactly.
You're going to get burned out. You're going to be tired. You're going to be irritable. You're not going to perform like you need to perform. So you have to take care of you first.
So one thing that causes the most strife.
Am I like? Okay, I feel like I'm froze.
I hear you.
I'm froze.
No.
No, you're not.
Now you are.
Shayla,
okay.
Anything?
I was like, am I froze? No.
Well, let me say this, and then I got to go because I'm half dead right now, and I still got to get up early tomorrow. I appreciate this business entrepreneurship conversation. Savon, you preaching, girl.
I try to do. Look, bankruptcy taught me a whole lot.
Yeah.
That was my failure. And I will anything that I've learned, I'll share with anybody because I want people to learn from my failures. And somebody told me at one point in time that after I had gotten out of bankruptcy, and I do like nice things, they told me I was gonna be back in it.
Oh, right.
Not if you budget right.
Right.
And that's
right.
20 years ago.
And don't get every credit card out there either.
And even if you do get every credit card, because see, that was my problem too coming out of college. Even if you do get every credit card, you ain't got to use it. Girl,
Right.
I like looking and seeing what my ratios are. I like looking and see, oh girl, if I wanted to drop all this, if I wanted to go buy a car off one credit card, which is the dumbest shit, don't ever do that shit. But if I wanted to, I love being able to say, you know what, girl, I could do that, right? Don't do it though. That interest rate is stupid. But so I like that. But just because you have it, don't mean you have to spend it. And my mama, she taught me that. And when I got in trouble, she's like, I could bail you out, but you ain't been listening, so I'm gonna let you bail yourself out. That was the best lesson ever for me to struggle and eat crackers for 5 years.
I definitely understand. All right, y'all. I got to go.
Thank you, Shayla.
Bye, beautiful.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I only did one main purchase when I came out of bankruptcy last year, and that was my car because I wanted to reestablish my credit, and it was time for me another car anyways. So I figured that I would use that to work on building my credit back up. And then the only thing that I've done since then is that I've opened up, you can go out there and get like what they call different, I believe correct me, Savon, if it's unsecured, that means that it's not putting up collateral. But if it's secured, that means it's like pretty much like kind of how those credit cards work.
You're protecting your fund, and that's how you can build your credit back, right?
Yeah, so that's what I got. I went out and got one of those, but I got it in kind of like a savings thing. So basically what it is that I went to a credit union because my mom said that a credit union would be your best friend to have, like if you ever trying to get like a good interest rate on something. So I've made a partnership with a credit union, and they basically matched my money that I put into the account. So like I put up $300, so they put up $300 of their money. So basically it looks like that I'm paying off a $600 loan when really, it's really $300 of my money. They just matched it, so that way I can build up credit history with them. And so by the time I pay it off, that way I can have that relationship established, and that will be an account on the credit report to revolve. So like coming out of Chapter 7, when I tell you, I filed bankruptcy 2 times. I filed bankruptcy when I was 21 because I had like almost $200,000 in medical bills for my sickle cell. And then I filed bankruptcy last year. So I was like, after going through those 2 times, I don't know parts of it because this stays in your credit report for like
7 years.
7 years. You can easily recover from it, but it's just a matter of how you bounce back. That's going to determine as far as like, how much, you actually do good as far as when it comes to your score, keeping your credit maintained, making sure you pay your bills on time. So that plays a huge part. So you can definitely come back out the bankruptcy. You just got to be self-conscious about doing certain things as it pertains to making purchases, going out there and making big purchases.
I have 2 of those, Patricia. I got insurance on everything. If I died today, my house would be paid off, and it's just separate, like all of that. But you know what? Another good avenue to Capital One is also really great with helping people rebuild their credit. They're really great at doing that, and like Evolution of Vail said, staying under 30% of your available credit is also key. There was a time, and I had to learn this the hard way because after I came out of bankruptcy, it was several years. I still wouldn't trust myself with a credit card. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn that even though I had, excellent payment on my house, excellent payment on cars whenever I bought them, it didn't help me because I didn't have any what they call revolving credit.
Revolving, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Yvonne, did you want me to drop that into the chat?
I do, because I think a lot of people understand that's a great basic rule to follow with whatever budget that you have. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. And also another thing that I stopped doing, and this is no disrespect to the the religious community, I'm not giving you your money before I pay my light bill and my mortgage, boo-boo, okay? If God blessed me with it, so he wants me to be a good steward over it. So what he wants me to do is to pay that first because he blessed me with it, and then I got you. But not before. Don't fall for that okie doke.
Amen.
Fucked up several people financially.
All right, we're having a very good dialect tonight, y'all. I do appreciate it.
One quick thing. So what he want me to do in the music industry,
and then I got you.
You got to learn this one word, recoup. If you don't know any other word in the music industry, know that word, recoup.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing in this music industry free.
Nope.
That is the one word I stress to anybody, period. You see recoup on your contract, take a beat. Make sure that's what you want to do.
So when you see recoup, let's expound on that. On a contract for an artist, what does that mean exactly?
What?
Oh, all right. Go lay down.
Bridget, you got anything to add to it, sweetie? Go Gadget.
Well, I just want to know more about this bankruptcy because I just talked to my best friend and I was like, I think I'm gonna file bankruptcy. Now, how long does it stay on your credit?
It depends. Well, it's gonna stay on there 7 years, but
is it 7 or 10, Savon? Which one is it?
Girl, when I did it, it was 7, but them bad boys probably done pushed it up to 10 years now. I don't know. A lot of things still fall off your credit at 7 years. So I don't see why it wouldn't.
But my only thing is this. Okay, I'm trying to figure out a way because I know this is gonna sound so.
Girl, don't put anything out there that you don't want to put out there. Just call me personally, girl. You can just call me personally, Bridget, if you want to. You ain't got to put it out there if you don't want to. You got my number.
Okay.
So yeah, it says either 7 or 10 years is what it says. Either 7 or 10 years.
Is it based off the type that you filed?
Yeah,
that's how you know the type.
Yeah.
What's the type? Okay, that's my question. I'm sorry, Mr. Six, for that.
There's 7, 11, and 13.
Chapter 7 and chapter 13. Okay.
There's 7, 11, and 13. I think the 11 though is probably for like businesses or something. I think, right?
Right. Businesses.
Yeah. So for personal, it's chapter 7 or 13, and there's a lot of ways that you can still work around. So for those, let's say you have a home, you want to keep your home, you can file a chapter 7. It'll definitely help with, demolishing the other debt, and you can still stay in your home as long as you pay. But you'll get like every month something will tell you that you don't have to pay, you don't have to do all this, but you can still keep your home. Now I know at one point in time people had to get rid of all that stuff, but it's a little different these days. So if you have someone who's in the bankruptcy attorney that offer consultations, take a look at what your options are, and go from there. Now I will say it helps some, and some people it made their life worse. If you're not in a situation where your credit is really fucked up, you really not really there, don't file if you don't really have to, honey, because it can really mess you up for anything moving forward, But if you have to,
okay.
It is an option.
Thank you for saying that, Savon. You just sealed it up for me. I'm not doing it. It ain't fucked up. I ain't fucked up the thing just yet.
Right. But call me and so we can talk about that, because like I said, a lot of people do it and then, as a precaution, and then 3 months down the road, you still fine, you still employed, everything's still rosy, and then you can't get shit if you depended on it because you don't file bankruptcy.
So
and I don't want it to mess with my good credit, like my American Express card.
Oh, all that's gone once you
I mean, I'm
file.
not trying.
All that's gone once you file, baby. You
Oh,
can't.
well, then I ain't doing none of that because that
You know, Amex don't play with everybody. Amex don't play with everybody. So if you get them to fuck with you, you make sure you.
I've been a member since 2006, baby.
Girl, look.
Let me stop. Let me sit back down. Let me go back in the background. Because you just feel
huh?
No, I said she feel the deal. I'm good now. Okay, I done got my advice.
Okay, cool. What does the recoup on the contract means? That's from Alex.
Alex, when you see that, that means whatever they spend towards advancing your career, be it your hotels, video shoots, photo shoots, anything, any expenses that you as an artist and crew, you have to pay that money back.
Yep.
Your advance that the record companies give you, you don't see anything from your record sales or anything until they are paid back.
Yep.
You're
So
paid.
Eugene, you don't want your money back?
You say what? I'm sorry.
Eugene, I say Eugene, you don't want your money back?
See, my recoup is different than most people because he does allow me. One of the things that he does allow me to spend money on is investment assets. So if I get the urge to spend, he might let me go buy a 4 or 5 carat and just put it up and put it in the safe somewhere, or 50 carat, or stuff like that. So we invest different than most.
Yep.
For me, it's like if you're giving in advance, don't do the typical dumb shit. Don't go spending it on buying stupid cars, and you want to go, oh, I took my mama out the hood, but only for her to go back to the hood because you're not they gave you $100,000 advance.
Mm-hmm.
And you went and spent all that on jewelry, taking your homies out because you don't want to be looked at as, oh, now you done blew up, so you forgot where you came from. No. If you're going to do anything, you flip that money. You invest it to make sure that you're making money from it, so that you can pay that advance back as soon as you can, so that everything coming in is yours.
Right. That's right.
Do independent, but everybody can't go that route because they don't have the resources or the funds to do so.
Yeah.
Or the talent.
And some people do better independent with talent. I mean, so
I'm one of those people. You can't sit there and you're not gonna sit there and tell me what to do with my artistry. It wasn't given to you to control. It was given to me. Thank you.
You have to use it as an opportunity and think of it as an opportunity and understand that while this goes back to what I said earlier. Just because you got a good first year, act like you don't. Put it up. Some of the people that you've not seen with record charting albums recently, but they're still living well, is because they did well with their money, with investments, holding on to it. You get what I'm saying? Ledisi is somebody that I know had been in the industry for years, and I know about 5 years ago she was like, "Honey, I still got my apartment. I'm not doing all that." Like, I'm not doing all that because she said she want long-term generational wealth.
Exactly.
I will say this about echoing what Zay said about people that make it and they buy their family homes and they buy them these lavish homes. There are property taxes. If they cannot afford the property taxes, a lot of houses in those type of arenas, they go pay for the house, but a lot of times those houses are actually put on the market because either they don't pay the HOAs and the HOA association takes them, or they don't pay the property taxes that are needed on them and they lose it for property taxes.
Yeah.
So if you have the money to be able to make sure you have a residual income and you want to do something for your mother or a family member, make sure that you get something that they can afford that won't put you in a financial strain.
Exactly. Why purchase this individual, somebody in need, a Porsche, and they can't afford the upkeep?
Right,
No,
right.
baby,
I'm
let me
glad
go
I'm
and
glad
get
y'all
Honda
mentioned it.
that you can get Uncle Junebug to come fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So you
glad
have
I'm
another
glad y'all mentioned that because people be buying, like, people be winning these houses, even just like you see people winning these houses like back in the day on Extreme Home Makeover, and I'm like,
Oh
shoot,
yeah.
if electricity bill and property taxes don't eat your ass alive, you ain't be able to afford it anyway.
They
See,
forget to tell you about that.
If you go back and watch the episode that they had in Forest Park, Georgia,
Yeah,
wonderful black family.
I remember
Literally,
that one.
right over by Forest Park High School. They ended
Mhm.
up getting evicted because they could not pay the property tax. So
Also,
that house
half
was
the
back
people,
on the market within a year.
half the people that was on the Oprah show. Remember the show? You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Well, when they got back home and figured out they had to pay the actual, all you had to do was pay the taxes. But everybody didn't have the $2,000 for the taxes for that vehicle, and they couldn't get the car. Or some of them got the car, sold the car, and then just gave them the tax on it.
That's what I would have
A lot of
did.
people didn't even keep the car. Well, yeah, a lot of people didn't keep the car. What they did was they got the car, got somebody to pay. Look, I'm gonna pay the taxes on it, and I'm gonna sell the car. And they took the money for the car,
Mm-hmm.
the actual value.
Yeah, that's true. The
Oh, this
upkeep.
is very, very good. Very, very informative. A lot of people are feeling this. Is there any more questions? I'm gonna drop the link one more time.
I saw Alex ask, would I ever sign an independent, sign with an independent label? Me personally, no. I want to start my own. I don't want to work for anybody else.
I have a question for you, Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Being an artist, do you think that it's a good idea for you to start your own label and try to help other artists, because you're an artist yourself?
You have
how
the
you
knowledge.
have time for me when you out there all up in the video?
If you have the knowledge and the know-how, if you have something to offer, if you have something to offer someone else, then definitely. Like me personally, I really feel that artist development has been overlooked. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They really don't. So for me, that's what my niche is. I like with voice students and things like that, and people I work with, just say like vocal production and stuff like that, and arranging in the studio with them. They always say, well, why don't you do your own label? You know what? I would, but I run it like the blueprint of a Motown. It's more artist development, so that I know that this person that I'm investing my time and energy and money into, I know it's gonna bring back something, because you're gonna be out there for a while. You have what it takes to really produce longevity. So it's really developing them and letting them know what it really is going to take. What's your purpose in this industry? Me personally, my sole purpose is I want to put out music that's timeless. I want people to be able to remake something of mine that I've written, that I've recorded. Most things you hear these days now on the radio, let's just be honest,
it's sampled.
No one's gonna be checking for that in 20, 30 years. That is original material. You have a few artists that have that caliber of material, because they're actually taking their time, and it's about the love of the art and their passion for the art of music and storytelling through song. But most of the stuff you hear is like, okay, you've forgotten about it the next week because it's something new. It's not something that you're going to want to hear 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, someone to remake. You're going to be like, what the hell is that?
I got a question. I got a question, Xavier. So do you think that it's a difference in artists telling their story in music and singing their story versus having one written for them versus just going into the studio and just like, okay, you got this good beat and now I'm going to write, da 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 da, boom to the boom to the boom to the boom, and it's got a good hook beat to it. Is there a difference in that?
Yes, it is. You can have a great beat and could literally have no lyrical content.
Like that's the way Neo writes. Neo wants to know about you, wants to spend time with you, wants to be around you for like a whole week. Then he writes songs and help you. You know, a lot of people do that.
Like some artists can just literally
Timberland
deliver whatever.
Aaliyah. Timberland did it with Aaliyah. They spent every day together. Him, Missy, and Aaliyah, just them together. It's done a lot more than we know.
There's some singers that are just awesome technical singers, period. So they can literally deliver whatever it is given to them because they're just a great technical singer. But honestly, it's nothing that you feel inside. Like, okay, you know what? I connect with the lyrics. That's a great vocal, but I didn't connect with it. It's like, okay, yeah, all right, great. But you have an artist that has a great story and they sing. Mary J. Blige don't have to hit one good note ever. She can stay flat for the rest of her life. And you're going to be like, I live for her. She's singing my life.
In the sunshine.
It's your music. Exactly. My life in the sunshine.
In the sunshine.
It's about those things. You have to figure out what works for you and what you're willing to do. If you're really about the art, you tap into what's your story. I can very well sit here and just sing a song, Mary Had a Little Lamb. But if I had a lamb of my own that I lost, I'm going to sing Mary Had a Little Lamb a totally different way. You're going to feel, whoa, what happened to the lamb? I want to know. How did you get the lamb?
Well, how did you? How did you get here?
Is you gonna sing Mary Had a Little Lamb since you on here and talk about Mary Had a Little Lamb?
They didn't fully tell the story. They just said everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was going to go.
Auntie said, "Can we just get a little piece of that?"
Is that what I said? Who said that?
That sip. Auntie, take the sip again. Take the sip like you did. See, like that. See, that's how she said it.
So, you can go. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Great vocal, but I ain't felt it. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow.
See,
Now, in the words of Sinead, St. Old McDonald had a farm facing the wall.
That's it.
Come on, Sinead.
You don't mean that. You don't feel that.
I'm a singer like, you can't just give me a song and say, okay, go in here and sing it. I'm looking at you like you're crazy. I got to figure out how do I relate to this song. If I can't relate to it, I can't sing it.
You can't, right. It is about
That's a good business point. If your business is not relatable, if people don't really feel the authenticity in whatever it is you're selling, offering, they're not going to buy it.
I think a lot of content creators need to take that as a rule too. Is your content relatable? Is it what we want to see? Do we feel it's authentic, or are you just doing it for the numbers? Because you've got to remember, once you get there, how you gonna maintain it?
Right.
Whatever you do to get that, that's a matter of
how you
Zay,
go.
how do you say it? Zay, how do you say something to me all the time about
the process for the promise?
No, about sustaining, like whatever you did to maintain something. It's this whole little saying you
whatever you did to get it, you got to continue to do to maintain it.
What are you going to do to stay there once you get there?
Yeah.
It's not just enough to achieve it. Now, if that's just your ultimate goal, then hats off to you. Go right ahead.
You got it. Yeah.
As far as where I'm from, once you get it, you have to sustain.
Is that where innovate to everybody? Is that where you think in wherever you are, the innovation part is key? Being recreative and being more innovative in each area.
That's pulling into your artistry.
Yeah.
What are you? What is it that you're trying to create?
Mm-hmm.
What is your ultimate goal? What is it that you want to be left behind? When you decide to depart, what are you leaving? What's your imprint?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
if you're not ultimately in it to leave an imprint, what are you doing it for?
Well,
Absolutely. So I think we've came to a close. I think everybody has put some beautiful stuff out there, and I'm about to get ready to close up, y'all. Y'all know how I do it. I am Eugene. Can you tell them where they can find us at, and final words and say so?
You can find me with Silent X Radio on every platform, Silent X Radio. Instagram, I think it's Silent X Radio Inc. For the radio station. To chat with me personally, I'm on Twitter at @IAM_J Eugene, and I probably will, I'm a Twitterer. My final words are really echoing my husband. I hope that you fail so that we can see the success and brilliance that you are.
Right. Thank you for being here, babe. Mr. Xavier Soul, what we got to say, baby? You muted. I didn't mute you. You made it. You muted, baby.
Yeah, I go. I'd say know who you are and know what you want to do fully, and study. Constantly educate yourself in your field.
Mm-hmm.
Never feel like you've arrived, because just as soon as you feel that you've arrived, there's always somebody at the door that's waiting to meet you in the door. But when you know your worth and the true value of what you possess, that it's not just a feeling of, you know it. You don't walk in arrogance, you walk in confidence. So no matter where you go, you know how to calculate it and precisely maneuver yourself, and nothing catches you off guard. And you move in a way of everyone will want to know, what is it about you? How did you get here? What do you do? Because it's something about you know so much, but no one seems to know your name. No, your name will be great where it needs to be. And if you're in the room, that means you're qualified to be there. But you can't doubt yourself once you're there. You're there for a reason. You're not a +1. Sit down, take your seat at the table. Make sure that everyone there knows your name before you leave that room.
That's it.
Right. And where can they find you at, social media wise?
Everything, Xavier Soul.
Okay. So Coco just joined us for just a hot second, and then I'm going to let Savon say her piece because I know she's got to go too.
Coco! I'm in love with the Coco. Yes. Did you send me what I asked you for?
I did.
Hey, Coco.
Hey, Mister.
Hi, Coco.
Hey, Boo. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. I just wanted to say thank you guys for the informative information tonight. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Jasmine, Savon.
Always, I want to take and get back. My thing is that, I want to be able to give back. So I don't want anyone ever thinking that they can't come here and actually have a voice on my platform. So I try to give back as much as I can. And I'm just appreciative that everyone took the time out of their schedules to actually be here, because it was very impromptu. But I felt like it was something that was needed, because we always can celebrate someone else, whether they're hetero, white, Asian or whatever, but we can't never come together in a decent and order type of way and, toss ideas with each other. So I'm very appreciative that everybody was able to toss ideas in. Nobody got upset. Nobody got mad. Everybody was very informative, and I enjoyed it. I really did.
I really do too. Thank you so much, everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, baby. So who's going to go next? Mr. Let's hear from you.
So I just want to sit here and say, never be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Never be afraid to be unique, innovative, all of those things, because that goes a long way. Always keep in mind that diversity, variety is everything when it comes to, being able to cross over to different things, as it pertains to your brand. Like, never just be afraid to be outside of the box, because, nowadays it's all about, uniqueness as far as, who you are, you creating your own blueprint to, whatever it is that you're trying to build as far as your empire. And you can find me on all platforms, TikTok, Facebook,
the TikTok king himself.
all of those things. YouTube at Mr. 6 feet 8, as you see in my name. And I thank you all. Thank you so much, Jazz. I'm glad I was still able to come on here. Enjoy.
And I thank you too. And to my two hardest working non-binary and females, pass the sugar. Come on and throw a little sugar to us, because my girl
right
gonna
here.
finish
I
this.
just want a little sugar right here, baby. Just give me a little
I'm so sorry I was late because I was actually working before this, but
entrepreneur.
Okay. So just like I said, the thing, I guess what I was just saying, what everyone just said, go at your own pace and honestly start your dream. It doesn't matter how little it is. I started Pass the Sugar. The idea came probably about 6 years ago. The legal groundwork was laid 3 years ago, and now I'm just really starting to see fruition. So understand that there's no time limit. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you are, how poor you are, how rich you are. There's a time and a season for everything. So you can find me on my website. Pass the Sugar is www.passthesugar.com. Email lalexander@passthesugar.com. And then if you want to hit the business up on Instagram, PDS_style. I just also want to throw out there too, because I was late. I also help people build e-commerce and retail businesses. So if that's a business you're interested in, I can help you develop a website, find vendors, stuff like that. You can hit me up on my personal Instagram, DAGR8 Alexander, ALEXZANDER, and we can go from there.
Okay, cool beans. And the co-hostess with the mostest, go ahead and do your thing, baby.
My parting word is going to be, you guys make sure that you tip Miss Jasmine Divine for bringing you such great content. That is one of the most efficient ways that you can ensure that she is consistently able to bring you content. $1, $2, whatever. Tip Miss Jasmine Divine. Also, my lasting word would be, make sure you just stay consistent and trust the process. There is a process. Rome was not built in a day. Beyonce didn't make it to billionaires that she is today in a day. It's a process. But as long as you put the work in, remain consistent, and stay true to your brand while also being innovative and creative, people will ride with you. When you come into the room, they'll know your worth. They'll see your potential before you see it. Just make it make sense. That's it. Stay with your passion.
And I do thank you. So with that being said, I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time out and to joining me tonight. I do realize that at any time, day or night, you could have been someone else, but you chose to be here with me, and I'm very appreciative and very grateful that you took the time to do it. I also want to give a couple shots out right quick. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. Bambi, I do appreciate your love token to me tonight. And Big Al, I do appreciate you taking and doing your love token for me tonight. I just want to let everybody know, whenever I take and I do get them, I always reinvest right back into my channel with it, whether it's buying a new program, whether it's StreamYard itself. I'm looking into a couple other devices to take and enhance to make my shows just that much a little bit better. I do appreciate everything that all my entrepreneurs came on tonight and did and shared with us. I just want to wish each and every one of y'all peace, love, and hair grease. Don't forget, coming up this weekend, we do have the After Dark series with Mr. 6'8". He will be in the house with us on Friday night. That's at 9 or 9:30. Most of the time, I think it's at 9:30. Then we do have the Save On Experience that Saturday night. Save On Experience proudly presents the Social Night Social Club, the Saturday Night Social Club. That is at youtube.com/SaveOn1111. That is 4 ones after that. And then don't forget, one of my special guests that was here tonight was the Evolution of Veil. You can find him on YouTube at the Evolution of Veil. And on IG, you can find him as I Am Veil. I do, again, appreciate each and every one of y'all for taking the time out and being with me tonight. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I got 3 more people and I'll be at 100 people, so I greatly appreciate y'all taking the time and being with me tonight. I think Mr. 6'8" may be doing an after show tonight. Unfortunately, I may not be a part of it because I do have work in the morning. This is my first one back. But until then, peace, love, and hair grease, y'all.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's